Welcome to VSB After the Bell. I'm your host, Gianna Chell. With deep gratitude and respect, we are honored to be learning and unlearning on the ancestral and unceded lands of the Hamathquiam, Skohomish Ohomeom, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. The Vancouver School Board is among the most diverse school systems in Canada, with an annual enrollment of approximately 50,000 students from kindergarten to grade 12 and adult education students. We know there are many pathways to graduation and finding success after grade 12. Today, we're talking about getting a head start on your career while still in secondary school. How's that possible? Through VSB's career programs. Joining me today is Mark Reid, a teacher through the career programs, and Lucy Griffith, Dean, School of Trades, Technology and Design at Vancouver Community College, or VCC for short. VCC is one of our wonderful partners who helps make these career starting opportunities possible for students. Thank you both for being here. For our listeners, can you please introduce yourself and tell me a bit about your role?
Yeah, so hi, my name's Lucy Griffith, and I'm the Dean of Trades, Technology and Design at VCC. So I oversee all of the vocational programs. I have 11 different areas, from design, so hair design and aesthetics, through to transportation trades and electronics and computer systems technology. So I have a wide range of programs. So I oversee all the staff, faculty and students that are involved in those programs and pathways and all the initiatives that goes with that.
Well, thanks for joining us, Lucy.
Thank you.
Mark?
Yeah, my name's Mark Reid. I'm a district resource teacher at Career Programs. The role that I have, along with my colleague Allison Newton, is to support students that are looking to engage in a dual credit pathway, moving from their high school classroom out to a college environment, or perhaps through an apprenticeship, going out and getting started in the workforce in a skilled trade right away.
So there's a lot of misinterpretation about our career programs. I often hear many people assume the career programs are only for students who are interested in careers and trades, like in automobile or woodworking. Maybe it's an option for those who are not academically inclined even. I've heard that. So Mark, can you help clear the air? What is VSB career programs, and who would be a good fit for this pathway?
I'm so glad you asked this question. Career programs offer so many different types of pathways, whether it's in the healthcare community or it's a transportation trade, construction trade, architecture pathways. There's a lot of different things that we do. Every single one of those career choices requires some pretty decent math skills, often some science, especially physics, so that students can understand the tools that they're working with, how they are used, what the application looks like, so that they can be working safely or learning safely in their environment and being able to feel productive, that they're using the skills that they're acquiring in their training when they're then finally out to work.
So do they learn those skills on the job then?
Sometimes. There's two ways to get started, either through a training program or by going out and starting a registered apprenticeship. If you're starting in a training program, you're learning in a classroom at a school like VCC or BCIT, Langara, the Finishing Trades Institute, the Piping Industry College, the Justice Institute of BC, Emily Carr University. Those are all of our training partners. The other way is to get started by going straight out to work. And there's a number of trades pathways, especially in construction or as a professional cook, where you can go to work your very first day with safety boots and a smile, and as long as you're ready to learn on the job and ask good questions, be observant, you might be a good fit for that kind of pathway. But there's different ways to get started.
So do you get paid while working then?
Yeah, apprentices get paid, and actually quite well. The lowest paid students we have right now are a little above $20 an hour, and the highest that we know of is $27.50 an hour.
So they're like 16, 17, earning way above minimum wage.
Yeah, and we sometimes have interviewed students to get a little feedback on the program choice that they made or the pathway design that they preferred. And we can think of a few students, one in particular, who talked about getting to graduation with $30,000 in the bank and then rocking her pretty dress at prom. So she went from worksite as an electrician back into school to graduate, but with money in the bank.
What grade can students apply to get into career programs?
We see students typically apply in grade 11 to do their program in grade 12. But we're finding more and more it's helpful when a student applies in grade 10 because that gives us more time to be working with them, to make a plan with them rather than for them. And especially as we partner with these post-secondary institutions, it's nice for us to know well in advance what kind of interest there is so that we can contact Lucy and her colleagues and say, we're going to need more seats in this particular type of program because we're seeing increased interest.
And so are there prerequisites? And maybe, Lucy, you can answer this question. If for like a grade 10 who's interested in going into a program at VCC when they're in grade 12, do they need to get ready beforehand in grade 11 and get those prerequisite courses down?
I mean, generally it's grade 10 is the prereq for many of our programs, but the school board and the institution will make sure that the student is prepared and have all the tools that they need in order to move into the program. But this is such an exciting conversation, like to be able to move into a career path and earn and learn at the same time. And when you talk about like a non-academic student to come into trades or vocations, like it's not that. And I'm glad you spoke to that because we're looking at highly motivated students and students that understand that they are going to need to dive into subjects that was maybe difficult for them in school, but there's a purpose. It's applied. They understand why they need to learn certain types of math in order to understand systems in cars, or chemistry if they're baking and doing pastry arts. So there's so much involved in it, and we work really closely together to ensure that the students have everything they need to move into the program.
So I can see that in a classroom setting, they would be exposed to learning the math, the physics, what you talked about, the English. But when they're on the job, how do they learn those courses when they're in the real world? Obviously, it's applied, but like, how are they graded?
There's two parts to answer with the question you just asked. It's a really good question. When students are on the job and they're learning, they're really acquiring skills with immediate application. So the supervising journey person might be saying things like, this is the math that we use to do this particular type of task, or we use this particular tool for this version of the task rather than a different one. So they're learning a lot of those things with immediate application. What we do as a district has been, I would describe, more ambitious than some other districts with engaging students in apprenticeship. We work in partnership with adult education, specifically at South Hill Education Center, to have our students go to school on Wednesdays to finish things like English 12 or their Career Life Connections course. But Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, they're at work. Similarly, with our students that are going to VCC, as an example, if they are in the Auto Collision and Refinishing Foundation program, that's 4 days a week. So on Fridays, they're going to Adult Ed to finish that extra course. And further to your question earlier about when should a student apply, if they're applying to us in grade 10, we work with their school to design their grade 11 year so that they can get all of their graduation requirements done, and then they can be working full-time or learning full-time in their grade 12 year, whether it's in the classroom or on a job site.
It kind of sounds like students in the career programs have to either go to work or go into a classroom. In total, it sounds like they're studying more hours than a regular student in a typical classroom. Is that an accurate assumption?
Yeah, it is. And I think it's interesting because when a student's in their high school, even if they're really into a particular subject area, high schools won't offer or can't offer full 4 blocks of woodworking at the grade 12 level. But they can go and a student can be working as a carpentry apprentice all day long. Even with automotive, we have great automotive programs in our district, but what a student can get at VCC is that full day immersive experience where they're really just focused on the unique elements of their trade in a purpose-built shop with state-of-the-art materials. I think everybody should check out the Auto Collision Refinishing shop at VCC because it's a noisy place. There's lots going on, but there's a giant paint booth where it's totally silent, and it's actually quite an elegant trade because you have to have some sort of physical sort of almost dance
Finesse.
skills and finesse to do that work.
Yeah, no, it's great. And when you talk about classroom, like our students are rarely in a classroom because it's all about the experience. So in auto collision refinishing or automotive service tech, for example, we're a fully licensed shop. So they're working on customer vehicles, customer stories, and they have, different, they're not just working on training aid, they have different experiences that are coming through every day. So they're always immersed in different aspects of their trade, and just like they would into a shop, so they can bridge in like quite easily. And the same within like our salon and spa programs. They're working in a beautiful salon and spa, and they're having clients off the street that come in 6 days a week for services that you would get in a high-end spa or salon, and they are working on clients, and that's their classroom is in a bustling like salon and spa. So it's quite exciting for students.
What programs are available as part of the career programs?
So we organize the programs that we offer into 4 different sectors. We have one which is around community care and support. So things like healthcare assistant, baking and pastry arts, professional cook, emergency medical responder. There's a lot of different options there. Then we have construction trades. So, of course, I talked about interior systems mechanic as an example, but there's a lot of different construction trades. So if you think you want to be outside and you can handle the weather in Vancouver, those are great trades to look at. We also have a developing area in technology and design. We've added this year architectural and structural CAD and graphics technician at BCIT, and next year we'll be adding the Head Start in Art program with Emily Carr University. And then the last one is transportation trades, and we work really closely with BCIT and VCC on a broad scope of different transportation trades. You can be working on something as small as a motorcycle, as big as a plane, and any type of road vehicle in between. We support pathways for those different trades and programs.
And I think too, it's also important to note that technology and trades are changing immensely right now. So we're looking at clean energy programs, wind turbine technicians. These are our future programs that we're launching. And we also have, construction for electrician that's constantly changing. So we having these conversations quite often about what students exploring, and then having discussions on let's create a pathway for these students. There's always opportunities for that. So it's important for students to know that they don't have to be locked into their decision straight away. They can kind of move through depending on what they learn.
So what if a student is not sure what they like? Maybe they have an idea, they want to be an esthetician, but then they realize they don't like sitting for so many hours in the day. What happens if they join the career programs and then they want to pivot?
That's a great question. It does happen sometimes. We have interesting strategies to help students figure out in advance what they think they might like to do. The district offers in a number of schools things like work experience, not limited to trades or career programs pathways, but a great opportunity for a student to be working in a real life environment and figure out if this is the work lifestyle that they would enjoy. We also offer programs like Trade Sampler, where a student gets to try out about a dozen different trades over the course of the semester and figure out which one is the right fit for them. Not just what they enjoy, but something that they're maybe also good at, or they have that natural aptitude. And the last thing that I think is really interesting for us is that our district has several schools that offer the Youth Explore Trade Skills course, which is a really interesting, immersive course where the teacher is able to show the students several different trades and sort of help students understand what the scope of each trade might be. So they recognize that when you're working with wood and you're building buildings, you're a carpenter. But if you're working with wood and you're making furniture and cabinets, that's cabinet making, or what we used to call joinery. So they're getting sort of their feet wet in a Youth Explore Trade Skills. Then something like Trade Sampler is much more broad and immersive. And then things like work experience are really customized to the individual student, what they're looking to experience.
It's so important because even with that question, as an esthetician, you do not sit down hardly ever. So again, it's what people or students expect that their career will be like. Working in colleges where they have multiple vocations vocations, being able to have that option to either try out different programs or explore different career pathways, it's really important to do that. So, and never kind of judge a book by its cover until you experience it.
Well, Lucy, you were saying before the show started that you kind of really pivoted your career, and maybe you can share a little bit about how you got to your position, because I think it's a great example of how you don't know what you're going to be and then you end up totally somewhere different.
Yeah, this is why I'm really excited about this discussion, because I'm obviously not from Canada, so I'm from London in the UK, and at 16 we transition out of high school into colleges or our post-secondary route. So you pick an apprenticeship or you pick a college program to move into. So obviously at 16 I had no idea what I wanted to do, and those of you that are 16, 17 years old, even 18, 19 that are listening right now, ask your parents, like, at 17, are you doing now what you were doing then? And probably the answer is no. So I didn't know what I wanted to do. I decided to go to college for 3 years to be a skin and body therapy expert, and I trained in that for 3 years, and it was amazing. And then I joined a cruise ship, and I worked on cruise ships for 3 years, where I got to travel around the world. I was 19 years old when I flew into Houston, Texas to join my first ship.
Wow.
After working, earning, learning for that 3 years. And I'd never even done my own laundry before that, or called my own taxi. So I was very green. And so I worked, and I say life is an apprenticeship, because for that time I was, really growing and really learning. And then when I got back to the UK, I decided that I wanted to teach. So I started an introductory course teaching at a local college. And then I took my teaching degree while I was teaching in the evenings, finished my teaching degree, and I moved to Vancouver because I met a boy on the cruise ship that was from Vancouver.
Of course, always because of a boy.
Always because of a boy, so who's now my husband. So we moved back to Vancouver, and then after a couple of years of working in industry, I actually joined VCC. I've been there for 16 years. So I started teaching, and then I decided at 30, I want to get or 29, I want to get my master's degree. So
Amazing.
I went to SFU, did my master's degree, and then I moved into a department head position. Then I oversaw all of the curriculum design, associate director, and then dean of trades and technology. So you don't have to commit right now to your entire life, or the career that you're going to lead for your entire life. You can jump into something that is, these career programs, they offer so much more. It's like hidden curriculum, like the real juice of it, because even though you're learning a trade or a craft, you're all of the extras that go in with that, the people, person stuff, like the meeting and greeting, moving through careers, working with industry. It's an apprenticeship your entire life, and it's going to lead you to where you will be when you grow up. And I'm even saying that now, as Dean of Trades, I'm constantly learning, constantly growing to think about what's next. So for students that are feeling a bit overwhelmed, like, should I commit to this trade or this vocation or this applied area? Just try it out, see where it leads you. I never thought at 16 that becoming an esthetician would mean that I'm a dean of a college in Vancouver.
So for students who are wanting to go to VCC and maybe they're interested in a trade, how does that work in terms of credit? Are they earning post-secondary credit while still being in high school?
Great question. So when a student's in a dual credit program, whether it's a trade or it's a healthcare or technology type of pathway, the students that we support that have applied into the program, were accepted into the program, the school district pays their tuition. The student and family pay for things like fees or textbooks and some other things, but the school district pays the tuition. And they're earning high school credit and college credit at the same time while they're spending their time in a college environment. We sometimes will describe the student as being a high school student enrolled at their high school, but they just take their classes somewhere else, and they're taking those in a college environment. And I think the powerful thing about that opportunity in their grade 12 year, just as you were saying, Lucy, is that this is a great opportunity to figure out what you're going to do first after high school. What's the first thing, rather than what are you doing for the rest of your life? It's Career Education Week this week, and historically we used to ask kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? And we've changed that to who do you want to be when you grow up? And now we're even changing it further to say, what's the first thing that you want to do with your life beyond high school? And if enrolling in a dual credit program is that way to make a very intentional transition out of high school into the real world, you get to do it on your own terms. And I think it's exciting to think about students that are really ready for this, rather than being held to their high school environment for one more year. They're set free, but only a little. They get to go to college, but they're still a high school student, and they're still getting support from career programs as they make that transition.
So if a student is interested in applying for career programs or wanting to learn more information, where can they get that? Yeah,
great places are things like going to see your counselor at school, our website, careerprograms.vsb.bc.ca. Either of those places are a good spot to start, because applications are due either December 1st or March 1st, and it's a good idea for a student to take a look at which pathways are out there, which one might be a good fit for them, therefore when to apply, and really making a plan for how they're going to prepare that application. It takes a little bit of time. If you work with your counselor, it can be done in less than a week, but you'll have an intentional plan for what that transition is going to look like, and you get to chart a course for how you make your exit from high school.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you guys would like to share with our listeners today?
I would just say that, coming in to do a career program, whether it's hairdressing or baking and pastry or, CAD and BIM technologies, in the transportation or construction trades, you're learning a craft that no one can ever take away from you. So when you're moving into that, year 11, year 12, if you're doing just a foundation in automotive service or collision and refinishing, there are tools and things you're going to learn that you'll be able to fix your kid's car when they're older, or you'll be able to do your brakes. You don't have to take it into the space. Or if you can cut hair, like that is, if you're going to decide to go to university later on or travel, if you can cut hair,
it's a skill.
You can just all you need is a comb and scissors, and then you can go around the world and earn cash, and you can. It's always a backup plan. And when COVID happened, which seems a long time ago now, but we had a lot of people that returned to the craft of like hairstyling, hairdressing, just because they were traveling or doing different things, and they're like, this is my skill. And so all these things that is being provided for you through the Vancouver School Board, their career programs, and what we do at VCC and other institutions, they help build you as a person and give you skills for life. So I think it's like a real treat that VSB have such a broad connection of programs through different institutions. Like, absolutely consider that. I
want to share a story that a parent shared with me when she first reached out. She reached out about her daughter, and for years she had been admonishing her child for daydreaming. They'd walk into a store, they'd be out in public, and she'd be like, you need to pay attention to where you're going. You need to look about where we're headed. And it took a long time, and then she realized that her daughter was looking around at how the building was built. She wanted to know, and she was showing curiosity about what the structure really was. Who would have built this? How would that have happened? So when this parent figured this out, she came to career programs to say, I think my daughter's interested in a construction trade. What do we do? And we were able to work together to then figure out, well, there are some steps that we could take. And at the time, the student was in grade 10. So it felt very early. But because she was 16, she could work for the summer as a sheet metal worker apprentice. And then she went back and did a regular grade 11 year. And then in her grade 12 year, she did the trade sampler program, spent time as an electrical apprentice, and then realized that the little bit of welding she had in that first summer as a sheet metal worker apprentice was truly where she was happiest. So she's currently enrolled at the Piping Industry College in a welding foundation program so that she can become a welder. And I think that's such a powerful story about recognizing that sometimes when kids are seemingly daydreaming, they're actually asking questions in their head. They're not saying them out loud, but they're really showing that curiosity about how the world works and how they might want to engage in it. And it's a good opportunity as a parent to then, or as an adult, to ask the kids around you, like, what are you curious about? Where do you think you might see yourself in a few years?
Well, honestly, from what I learned today, there's so many different pathways, and it's really a win-win-win situation. You can earn high school credit, you can earn post-secondary credit, you can even get your tuition paid for by VSB. That's huge. And, when you're not sure, you just have to talk to your counselor. That's all. Start early. Sounds like that's the advice. Start in grade 10 and just get the conversation started. It's always good to have more information and then to try. Now's the time to try. So thank you so much, Mark and Lucy, for being here today.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.
And now I want to turn our attention to VSB students who are currently involved in the career programs. We are live here on the scene at a construction site. Can you tell me your name, your school, and the current job that you have?
My name is Ava Bradley, and I go to Sir Charles Tupper, and I am a part of the trade sampler.
And Ava, can you tell me a little bit, what is the trade sampler?
We go around to different institutions and learn from different Red Seal instructors, teach us the basics of a trade.
Okay, what are you sampling right now, Ava?
We just finished with cement masonry, and next week we're doing electrical trades, but we've tried welding, plumbing, and rigging as well.
What has piqued your interest so far?
I really enjoyed welding, and it sort of made me look into careers that involve welding, so now I'm interested in ironworking.
And what got you interested in going into the trade sampler and maybe going into the trades?
I wasn't totally sure about university, and I knew I wanted to work with my hands, and so I thought it could be good to explore that career path.
What has been your experience so far with the trade sampler program?
It's been really fun, and I've been learning a lot, and it's allowed me to think about different career paths. I'll be able to transition to a job hopefully straight out of high school.
So basically you'll get the experience that you need, but once you finish secondary school, you can right away go into the job market. Okay, thank you so much, Ava. I am here with Avery Lowe at BCIT in his drafting classroom. Avery, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us what school you go to and what are you studying right now?
So my name is Avery Lowe. I'm a student at Prince of Wales Secondary, but I take all my classes here at BCIT, and currently I'm in the Architectural CAD and Graphics Technician program.
What got you interested in this potential career option?
So I've always had an interest in architecture and design, so I always took drafting classes, art classes, and that's kind of the main fundamentals of this class. So if you take a look over here, we have lots of drawings, both hand-drawn and drawn on computers, and it's always been a program that's kind of been relevant to me, and I've always wanted to do something like this.
And how did you find out about this program?
So I found out about this through I guess you would say it's a presentation by the VSB about different career programs, and this kind of came up as a topic in architecture at BCIT, and being able to talk to Mark Reid, I was able to get an application into this program.
What has been your experience in the program so far?
So I love this program. I think it's really nice just to be able to really focus in on something, because I always look forward to drafting class in my high school, and being able to do that the entire day is really nice.
What's a typical day like for you?
So a typical day, it can range anywhere from maybe 4 to 5 hours. We usually have 2 to 3 classes. A lot of our work is done on computers, especially in the first term. There's lots of group presentations, which is a highlight of this course, because it really invites people to work together and collaborate on projects.
Avery, what is your end goal?
I want to become an architect. That's my main goal, but it is a really long path, so I could easily branch off into another career path that I might not even know of. So I'm really open to all of the opportunities yet to come.
And would you say that's getting a head start and going through this drafting program, that it has either cemented your interest in becoming an architect or given you a leg up in the industry?
I think it's going to be really beneficial to have this fundamental knowledge because this program covers so many fundamental topics.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add to prospective students who may be interested in this program?
Just do it. You never know where you could end up.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Avery.
Thank you.
So we are here in one of the simulation classrooms. Tell me, what's your name, what school do you go to, and what is your current job?
So my name is Simran and I'm from John Oliver, and right now I'm in the healthcare assistant program.
Can you tell me about the healthcare assistant program and what got you interested in this career option?
So I always wanted to go into healthcare. I've just had some personal experiences dealing with the healthcare, and that kind of really motivated me to go into healthcare. I really like this program. I think it's a great opportunity. You get to meet new people. There's new opportunities. We have the simulation labs every Friday. You have classes 2 days a week, and 2 days are online. So you kind of get that feeling of adulthood kind of. You perform hands-on skills in lab, which I really enjoy. And the teachers are so nice. Everybody's here to help you, and it's kind of like your school family.
Tell me about your simulation classroom. What does that entail?
So the simulation classroom, it's kind of you do everything that you would do in clinical or in a home care facility. So you practice on each other, so with your other peers, and you learn every Friday. You learn a different skill. So one Friday you'll learn bed making, and then you learn that in the morning, and then you have the afternoon to practice.
Tell me about the job itself.
You basically help perform care, and you help the nurse in any way. You aren't allowed to give any medication though, but you can ask the nurse, and then you also perform peri-care and morning care. You help them eat. It's stuff like that.
So what has been your experience in the program so far?
So far it's been really good. So far we've just been in labs. Our clinical actually starts November 24th, the first one. So right now we have testing this week to make sure that we're good for clinical. And it's been great. The labs are really fun. Overall the program's been really fun, and it's been really interesting.
What's a clinical?
Clinical is basically when you go to a facility and you're under a teacher, and you basically perform care on real people, real clients, and then they will monitor you and see how you're working.
And so after you finish this program, can you go right into being a healthcare assistant? Do you have to have more certification? How has it really fast-tracked your career?
So right after the program, you can work as a certified healthcare assistant, and then if you want to keep going in education, you can. But the healthcare assistant program, once you're done in April, you have the certificate, and that's your career.
So you can start working right away?
Yeah.
Awesome. Is there anything else that you'd like to add, Simran?
You should definitely try it out. I thought that I was not going to make it and that I wasn't going to enjoy it. No, I absolutely love it. It's so good. I love meeting new people, and just the teacher, everything about it is just so amazing. So it's a great opportunity that the VSP gives.
Thank you so much, Ava, Avery, and Simran for sharing your experiences with us. If you want to learn more about the career programs, visit our website at vsb.bc.ca. Until next time, happy holidays, VSB. We look forward to seeing you in 2026. Follow us on Instagram at VSB39 to make sure you don't miss when the next episode drops. Or subscribe to VSB After the Bell on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Special thanks to music teacher Mr. Bonnell and the Nightingale Elementary students for the original theme song. After the Bell with the VSB.